Hi! I'm just going to give Facebook a few minutes to catch up. Make sure some people hop on. Hi, Brooke. I'm just inviting some people. Yay! Oh, thank you. They're my owl feathers. You know how I feel about the owl. I have like no idea how to work this live. I am still learning. Oh, hi! You found me. I just, oh, this is so hard. I don't know how to work this. I can see myself on mine. But I don't know how to work it. Oh, yeah. I, I, I don't know. It's so weird because I'm like, share. Okay. So I can publish it to the Burgundy Wishes page. Hi, Melody. We're trying to figure out how this whole live thing works. So I'm not very internet savvy. Well, it's not letting me share it with any other groups. So I'm just going to post it on my page and then I guess we'll go from there. It's not even letting me post it in my own group. Oh my goodness, my dad's on here. It's about to get real. Okay. Oh, you can see and hear me. Fantastic. Well, we've been on 4 minutes and I've just now figured out how to maybe share. Uh-oh, who dropped off? Okay, thank you, Brooke. If you want to share it with Growing with the Angels, because I did post it in there for them, that would be fantastic. Okay. So, welcome, welcome. For those of you that don't know who I am Tabatha. I am the owner, founder of Red Feather Healing. And so what I do is I really help others come to find their gifts through channeled messages. So I really feel or view myself really as a facilitator. I believe in animism, which is that everything has a soul, has a purpose, and has the ability to communicate. And so because of that, I am able to tune into those frequencies or tune into those binaural beats, if you will. And hi, Jennifer. And receive messages. Most of the time, it's not vocalized. My messages don't come. They come as pictures, or colors, animals, trees, and then from that, my spiritual team, my guides help me to translate that and pass the messages on to you. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Today we are going to talk all about crystals because besides animals, that is one of my favorite topics to talk about. And so I'm super excited to be able to do this. Mom, no, we cannot see you. You should only be able to see me. Jennifer, we are still working out this live thing, but I promise by the end we'll get it together. So I want to start off when we talk about crystals, really, why do they work? Why do so many people talk about healing crystals and healing gemstones, and what is it about them? So really, if you think about it, these stones have been around since the beginning of time, right? They used to be bartered, traded, almost as a form of currency, and passed down as gifts. And now, when you think about today, think about the earth and all these technology and things. Well, 12% of our Earth's crust is quartz. And the quartz is embedded in all of our technology. Watches, DVD players. So if they can embed these quartz in everything as far as technology that we use, why wouldn't it work for our bodies as well? Marcel Vogel, he was a scientist at IBM, and he really, through his test found that rocks, they have similar substance to cassette tapes in that as tapes use the magnetics to record sound, rocks can store thoughts in that same process. And it's not unusual. We've heard Albert Einstein and his, everything is a vibration and all life vibrates. So why wouldn't that work for our bodies? And why wouldn't that work to heal us? And so that is why gemstones and crystals are one of my favorite topics, because it's been around for centuries. It's not anything new. Science, as you'll kind of listen into one of my top 5, science has actually backed it. And believe it or not, science uses it in medication. So if they are using it in big pharma, why can't we use it in its all natural state, right? So that's kind of just a little bit of background about why we know that this gemstone healings work. As we go through, not every gemstone is going to work for you. It vibrates at different levels. Each stone, holds different meaning, and it all comes to do with setting your intentions, which we'll get into in a little bit. But finding the right stone for you is going to take time. I was in love with the rose quartz, and I was like, oh, that is so me. Self-love, promoting love. Oh, I am a rose quartz girl. I just know. And I would carry it in my bra. I would wear bracelets. I was rose quartz. And I said, man, this is just, it's not, I can't feel anything. And I just wasn't getting it. And so you'll find out which stone actually drew me in, but not every stone's going to work for you. And we'll talk about how to find these stones. So don't get frustrated. You'll have to feel them out. Feel the vibration, feel how it feels for you. But when we look at selecting stones, just like we look at selecting anything, what draws it is our attention, right? Whether it's the color, whether it's the sparkliness, whether it's, oh man, it's just sitting on that shelf and the light is just so perfect up there. Go with your intuition. If that stone is calling you and you say, well, I don't really need grounding. I know that's a grounding stone. Who needs that? Go with your intuition. Go with your gut. You're drawn to that stone for a reason. And when we talk about, in a second, I'm going to talk about how different stones kind of are representative of the elements that we have. And because that's such an ancient art, some of the stones now are able to, what we find, go between multiple elements. So really what it's going to come down to is being drawn to that stone and setting the intention for your stone to use it. So I'm sorry. I just got some new rosemary. I just dried it out from my little rosemary garden. And the smoke almost set the fire alarms off. So it's a little, my throat's a little parched, so if I keep drinking, don't worry. It's from all the rosemary smoke in my house. So we talked a little bit about being drawn to that crystal. So don't get thrown off by these intentions or these knowledge of whether the stone is for grounding, for crown chakra, just put all that aside, okay? So I got a little bit ahead of myself. So before we go into selecting stones and what to do from there, I'm being told that we need to go back and talk about how stones can relate to elements. Because all of the stones come from earth, you would think, well, they're earth elements, right? That's not necessarily true. Certain stones can belong to multiple categories, whether that's, earth, water, air, or fire. So you have to be careful in choosing, like I said, but also understand that within each element, that elemental is drawing out a certain aspect within that stone as well. So let's look at the earth element. The principle here when we think about earth elementals is really the principle of the body. So when we're looking at stones that represent this earth element, we're looking at stones that are going to ground our energy. They're going to center and stabilize us. Not only are they going to ground us, but they're going to be able to protect us, to shield our energy as well. They're attracting success because now we're grounded. We're going to be able to gain strength from these type of stones because we're grounded. So when we think about earth elemental stones, we're thinking about the agates, we're thinking about the jaspers, the onyxes, the calcites, these sturdy, strong stones. You remember in the beginning I talked about 12% of the earth's crust is made up of quartz. And quartz and agate are very closely, or oftentimes grow closely together. So that is definitely very earth elemental in the fact that it gives you a lot of those grounding principles. When we look at the water element, we're looking at different things. As we know, water is the basis of life, right? So these crystals have your cleansing, your healing properties. When we're looking at water elements of stones, we're looking at the ability to induce peace or induce healing in somebody. We're maybe even being able to induce lucid dreaming. These are your stones that are going to increase your intuition. They're going to be able to make you new friends because they're going to be able to make peace with somebody if you're having that difference of opinion or whatever. These water ones are going to be, or water element stones are going to be able to help you guide you through there. These are your celestites. Amethyst is huge in this category. Don't think of these as only blue stones because blue represents water. That's not necessarily true. Amethyst is what we would refer to as the natural healer or the ultimate healer. This is also your lapis lazuli, moonstone, and of course pearl. Pearl is huge in the water element. When we think about the element of air, what we think about is almost this representation of our mind. And this element really is one that when we think of what the stone represents, we think of that ability to travel and communicate. Excuse me. The air elemental stones, they represent our intellectual abilities. They improve our memory, improve our communication, obviously. And they really expand our awareness for a lot of things, not just in the communication realm. But these are going to be your opals, your tiger eye, adventurine, turquoise. These are big in the power of mind and how we think. So when we think about the last element, excuse me, the fire element, this element, this is probably one of the most active elements that we know because it really has the ability to destroy or create. And when I think about the fire element, because one of my favorite crystals that I'm going to talk about is a fire elemental crystal. And it just absolutely, when I hold it, it feels like it has the ability to destroy the old but make room for the new at the same time. So I don't think of this fire element as only in the destroying sense, because it also has the ability to create, and that's a beautiful thing. So the fire elemental crystals, these are your crystals that are going to increase your energy. They're a little bit higher vibration because they're so active. They really are the ones that are protecting your aura. They're there to fight the psychic attacks. You'll see these as Apache tears, obsidian, tourmaline, fire opals. I love fire opals. So these have the ability to strengthen your will, protect you, and really cleanse at the same time. So does anybody have any questions yet? I have some people on here that I had no idea were going to join. So I am so excited. Thank you guys so much for joining. So I'm going to talk about my top 5 favorite crystals. It was really hard for me to choose just 5 because anybody who's been in my house knows that if it's not a feather or a crystal, I mean, my house is full of crystals and feathers and animals, and so it's very hard for me to choose the top 5. But I talked to my guides, and we really talked about, okay, well, think about where you were and where you came from, and what got you here. And that's kind of how we narrowed down our top 5. So my first one I want to talk about is this beautiful guy right here. This is lepidite. I can never say this word right. lepidolite. And this is a lilac color. It's probably very hard to see with the light, the lilac color of it. So I actually have it in a different form, which makes it a little bit easier to see, which is here. I don't know if you can see that. It's lilac, very shiny, very sparkly. So it can range in colors from this beautiful lilac color to almost kind of like a rosy violet color. But normally you'll see this in more of the purpley colors. The chakras that this stone is known for, yes, the more shiny, flaky, yes, that's this version right here of the more shiny, flaky version. I have both of them because what girl can only have one form, right? It's crazy. Some girls like shoes, I like gemstones. So the chakras that this works for, get back. If you guys don't know, which most of you do know, my main guide is Agatha Christie, and she likes to keep me on track. So we're going to get back on track. So this really works with the third eye and the crown chakra. It's as far as like zodiac or astrology, this would be more of a Libra gemstone if you follow that form. This is definitely an air elemental. So sorry, this is more of that opening of the mind, that free-flowing concentration type. You can find this in the Czech Republic, Brazil, Madagascar. The lilac is really actually very plentiful down in Africa. And so this is most known as the transition stone. And it's most probably known for that because it has the ability to release and reorganize your thoughts, behavioral patterns, and your psychological patterns. So when you're in a rut or in a bad situation, this stone really has the ability to help you reorganize and rethink, have a clear mind so that you can rethink what you're going through. And even though, you know, it says that it works with, you know, the third eye and the crown chakra, really it has the ability to activate the heart chakra, especially in that rosy color that it's in, but also the throat chakra, believe it or not, because it has the ability for you to recognize your own good and speak that own good. This stone has the ability to dispel negativity. And when it dispels the negativity, it really is pushing you and your thoughts, rearranging. Remember, we talked about it has the ability to rearrange. So it's pushing those negative thoughts out and rearranging you to think about what's for your highest good. And so it's really kind of an unusual vibration of a stone. And I think that's why it can go into so many different chakras, because it has that kind of unusual vibration to it, because it has the ability to activate that higher self line of thinking, but also at the same time it can activate that higher self. It has the ability to pull out and show you the divinity within you. So one of the reasons that the stone, I really hope you guys can see this amazing lavender color in here, because when I look on it, it just looks blurry. But one of the reasons that this is my favorite is it actually contains lithium. And lithium is used in antidepressants, in anti-anxiety, and for those of you that don't know, I do have PTSD from serving 13 years active duty military, and have been on anti-anxiety and antidepressant medication for a very long time because of that. And so having this stone and being able to have that vibration, whether it's constantly around me, constantly I keep it in my auric field, it has the ability to calm me. It has the ability to lower my, almost slow my thoughts down so that I have the ability to rearrange and think before I go into a panic attack, and just having that slow down moment before your brain triggers into something is huge. You know, the medical community uses this. Like I said, they pull the lithium out of here to use in so many antidepressants. So the fact that the medical community recognizes the healing properties within this stone even further validates how amazing these earth qualities can be. And so this is one of my first ones, first favorites, and this is, like I said, lepidite. And so this is a very raw form, if you can't see the lavender in there. And then this is like kind of this flaky form of it. So two different forms, same stone. So Brooke said, I was just drawn to that stone a while back and haven't done anything with it. I think it's just come to me for when I was ready. Yes, you know, so originally I had picked this stone up a long time ago and never really did anything with it other than, ooh, it's super sparkly. And so I started sleeping with it by my bed and would notice that I'm sleeping a lot easier. And when I would hold it and be with it, I could just feel the calmness when I had it in my presence. And so this is actually, yes, the first one, lepidolite. So yeah, I completely understand, Brooke, that, you know, maybe it was just coming to you for when you're ready. So the second stone, one of my second favorites, kyanite. And so kyanites, if you guys are not familiar, is this kind of blue stone. So this is a super big kind of chunk here, and this is a very little sliver. Oftentimes when you see it sold in like gemstone stores or whatever, you'll see it look very similar to this. But I also have these big chunks here. So the most common color you're going to see is this blue color here, but they do come, believe it or not, black, gray, and even green kyanite. So the good thing about the kyanite is it really doesn't retain any negative energy or negative vibrations. So when we talk a little bit later about recharging the crystals, this is not one that you would have to recharge all the time. Some people think that you don't have to recharge the stone at all, and I think that's a personal opinion. For me, I still think that all stones like that recharging, just like we like to be recharged. So I still recharge it, even though it's said that it doesn't absorb negative energy. But this definitely works with the throat chakra. As far as like astrological or zodiac, this is definitely a Taurus, Aries, Libra rock, definitely representing that air elemental again. And believe it or not, this is actually found in Switzerland, Austria, Brazil, and even a little bit of Australia. So Brooke says she's been carrying around a piece of blue kyanite, expelling that negative energy. Yes, definitely. I use this a lot in my smudging fans because it has that ability to, well, not absorb, or yeah, not absorb, or I guess I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Okay. So it doesn't retain the negative energy or the negative vibration. So it's a good stone to have. But for me, I enjoy the fact that it really balances that yin and yang energy. It's an amazing meditation stone. It really encourages that self-expression, that communication, that self-talk, especially in this blue color because we're working with that throat chakra. It cuts through any fears that you have, and it's really going to allow you to speak your truth. And that's, for me, what makes this such an amazing throat chakra stone. You know, you have a lot of these throat chakra stones that will help you speak your truth, but this one, because it doesn't absorb that negative energy, is super good for just cutting through it. It knows it's not going to retain it, so it's like, get out of here, and helps you stand and speak, you know, your truth. In that aspect, it's also kind of referred to as the spiritually honest stone. It has that ability to help that spiritual energy flow through you, to help translate into your thoughts. And so my mom says, I use kyanite in my malas and rosaries, good for meditation. Yes, this is probably one of the best meditation stones because not only does it not, you know, absorb that negative energy, but it allows the spiritual communication to flow because it has the ability to cut through that negative energy. So for me, the reason that I find myself gravitating towards this as one of my favorites is because, you know, when I started my journey on my spiritual path, I never thought that I would be where I am today. And part of that was really being able to stand in my truth and speak my truth, because I had a lot of fears surrounding my ability to say, this is what I do. I'm a healer and facilitator, and I have the ability to channel messages from anything, whether it's a rock or an animal or, you know, and so being able to stand in that and speak it, this is one of the stones that, and I still do use it in every one of my meditations because it really gives you that strength and helps you find not only the connection, like I said, but the ability to just cut the fear, cut the, you know, negativity, and help you stand there. So, folks, so my dad, folks that don't believe in this stuff do not understand it's all made by God as well. It's here for our use. Yes, very much so. So like I stated, you know, in the beginning, you know, this stuff has been around. It's not anything new that we've been using, you know. So I think that a lot of times, even in spirituality, you know, they still place hands and they still do all of these things with the oils and the crystals because they know that it works. And so my third crystal, I'm so excited. I actually couldn't decide which two I was going to go to. So we're just going to cover the generic form, and that is obsidian. So this one here is kind of, oops, So this one, it has a gold sheen on it, if you can see that. There. And then this piece of obsidian is almost kind of see-through. And so obsidian is actually volcanic glass. It's a man, super protective stone. So when we think of basis of chakras, this is definitely a root chakra stone. It's definitely down there at that base. You can see it different colors from black because it's got that sometimes see-through, like you can see there, almost a brown quality to it. And then of course it's got like these sheens. So there's rainbow obsidian, spiderweb obsidian, snowflake obsidian. This is the gold sheen obsidian. So within that brown or black, it's gonna have different qualities. And so, like we talked about the root chakra, right? So if we're thinking of astrology or zodiac symbol, this is definitely Scorpio, Sagittarius. Not only is it an earth elemental, but definitely a fire elemental. You know, you're talking about volcanic rock here. So definitely got some of that fire element in it. When we talk about a strong protective stone, this stone almost envision a shield forming around you, right? That's how strong this stone is. It blocks, you know, negativity in the form of psychic attacks. It blocks it by being able to absorb it, really. Not only in the spiritual sense, but in the environmental sense. So we think of a lot of times, you know, EMFs from computers, from cell phones, from different things like that. So obsidian also has the ability to absorb that negative energy as well. This stone, you know, most of the time what I use it for is my protection base, but it also has the ability to kind of help us explore life. It has the ability to bring clarity to our minds, especially when we are surrounded by a lot of confusion. It has that ability to clear your mind, kind of set that exploration on yourself to look inward to find the answers. So not only think of it as a protective stone, but definitely as one that's going to help you in those tough times, think of clarity. So for me, why this made my top 5 list is, you know, I almost think of this as Margie says, I need that to deal with people's political views. Isn't that the truth? Because for me, I view this as my bodyguard for my soul. That's how I view my obsidian. You know, it is just, the protective qualities are amazing in this stone. But, you know, for me, I went through a very rough patch and had a lot of things going on in my life, and just couldn't find my thought, couldn't find a thought, couldn't shield myself, so kept drawing that negative energy into me. And the stone, for me, holding it and looking at it and just having it near me really allowed me to almost dissolve those emotional blocks that I was facing, or even, you know, ancient traumas or past life traumas, emotional debris that we carry with us all the time. And for me, this stone, you know, really was my go-to for that. So meditating with it, having it with me at work, in the car. Not only do I wear gemstone jewelry all the time, but I carry them with me in a little pouch. I have them all around in my house. So for me, it's very important to have some of those in my aura field at all times. And this little guy, I definitely view as, like I said, he is the bodyguard for my soul. And that is, of course, obsidian. So let's go to the fourth one. Man, I'm getting so excited about, I just see my fifth one standing over there. I'm like, woo! Okay, but first we're going to go back to the fourth. So my fourth is actually green tourmaline. And this one is probably, let me know if you guys can't see that. But this is actually green tourmaline in quartz. And we'll talk about why I've chosen to show you the green tourmaline inside the quartz versus just outside. But when you think about chakras for this little guy right here, you're thinking definitely heart chakra, right? It's got that green color, definitely a heart chakra. If you're looking for astrology or zodiac, you're thinking definitely Capricorn. This is an earth elemental stone by far. You're going to find this little guy in Brazil. You're going to find him in I think Pakistan is probably the biggest place that I know about for tourmaline in general. The green tourmaline is almost like, the way I view it is like the supreme heart chakra stone. It encourages you know, your strength and your vitality, but it's so soothing, right? For me, green tourmaline, because I'm such a big earth elemental based body, this really has an innate connection with earth, and so being able to channel through it really helps me. But with so so Brooke says, do you know the difference between green and black tourmaline? And I do. So kind of like all tourmalines are very protective stone. They have the ability to kind of balance your chakras, balance your aura, kind of re-promote that harmony within the body. But the difference is the black tourmaline is really more known for protective. Its protective qualities, whereas the green, not only, so I was seeing money, and so the green tourmaline, with it being July is a huge manifestation month, and so if you want to attract money, success, green tourmaline for July. But anyways, the green tourmaline in the heart chakra for me has the ideal healing properties, because it's almost like a healer stone. It has the ability to balance those chakras, remove those blocks, keep you clear, keep you feeling that love, keep you that connection to earth. And so this is one of my favorites, because, you know, I kind of hinted that I was at a point in my life that I was going through a lot. You know, at one point I went through cancer, divorce, lost 2 babies, and went through an event where I had a gun pointed at my head. So I had a lot going on, and the ability that this stone has to calm, to almost put things in perspective. You know, when you're faced with so much negativity, all you can almost see is negativity, and counting blessings was far from anything that I felt like I could do, being surrounded in all that. So having this stone really has given me the ability to sit in the moment, put things into perspective in that I'm able to count my blessings and know that this stone is going to let me know when too much is too much. It's not ever going to allow too much to come in to my heart space that we can't take care of together. So when I, kind of talked about the obsidian as my bodyguard for my soul, this little guy, he is like the healer to my heel. And it really has allowed me to step into my warmth, step into my own love, and know that I'm worth that love, and I'm worth that feel, that respect and love. And so it's really put that into perspective for me, like I said. So that's why this one definitely made my top list. So I'm so excited because my next one, this is my number 5. Of course, they were in no particular order because by my excitement, you guys wouldn't be able to tell what's really coming up. So probably one of my absolute favorite stones is the carnelian. And so this guy, I have it, man, probably every piece of jewelry I have has some form of carnelian in it. I have, different flames. I have worry stones. I pretty much keep carnelian with me all of the time. And so, believe it or not, carnelian is known as the singer's stone. And actually, if you guys know who Adele is, I don't know why I would ask because everybody knows who Adele is. But Adele actually will not go on stage without her gemstones. And one of the gemstones that she carries is carnelian. Not that I carry it because Adele carries it, but I'm just so let's go back. So root chakra, but it also has the ability to work with the sacral chakra because it can come in different forms. It can come in like a reddish brown. It can come in a pale orange. It can be so deep colored red that it can almost look like black because that red is so deep in there. This is definitely a Taurus, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, if you're thinking about zodiac or astrology. Definitely a fire element stone. So we talked about one of my favorite stones being fire element, and this is definitely my favorite stone. And fire element, if you remember, has the ability not only to destroy but to create as well. So carnelian, probably most known for boosting confidence, true expression, power, vitality. For me, it almost makes my worries, my anxiety kind of melt away, right? So it's got that fire element. So when I hold it, I feel this pulse of vibration and allowing that to melt away. It has the ability, or is known to have the ability to kind of really focus that concentration. It really has also the ability to clarify what you're perceiving. So putting what your ego is telling you away and focus on what is really going on. So why I was drawn to this stone, if you go back to the very beginning, we talked about rose quartz, how I just knew I was a rose quartz girl because, I just had to carry rose quartz. It was a lover's stone. It was self-love, all this stuff. And I thought, okay, that's totally me. I'm going to carry it, but never felt anything. I never felt anything from a stone that I carried until I carried the carnelian. And it wasn't immediately. I at first saw this and I was like, man, that is really cool. It looks like a flame. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to buy it because it looks really cool. And there was a little kind of worry stone, which this one was actually next to it. And so I bought them at the same time. And I just really like the color, and you know, I don't know how much you guys can see, but it's kind of like see-through and has the little veinies. So I would carry it. And every time I would go into work and work with executives, whether it was coaching or doing anything, I just felt this boost of self-confidence, to the point where some people would actually tell me, you have a glow about you. When you get up there to speak, it's like you transform. And I'm like, how do they know I'm carrying this carnelian right now? I was like, this stone is amazing. And then there would be days that I would forget it and have to go do the same things. And I don't feel like myself right now. Like how can I not? I know this information. Why can't I brief it? And so that was my aha moment, that it was the power within the stone. The information is already within me, but it's the stone's ability to raise those vibrations, to boost that confidence with that vibration that it has, that allowed me to speak in the way I did, or allowed me to be seen in the way that I was while we were coaching or doing whatever it was that we were doing. So, you know, looking at everything that I had to face in life, when I look back on what originally drew me to this stone, like we said, originally was, well, that's the way it looked. But now thinking about it and meditating on it, especially for the talk today, it was almost as if I was guided to this stone because it wanted me to face those fears. It wanted me to face the fears of everything that had happened in the past. And it knew that by facing those fears, I was going to get the confidence that I needed to perform, whether that was in a room full of executives or one-on-one channeling for a client in order to receive their message. No matter what, this stone knew that I was going to be able to pull that from it. And that's why in the beginning I mentioned, you know, don't get discouraged if you feel like, man, I thought that was the stone for me. And maybe it will be. You know, Brooke mentioned that she had pulled up, you know, one of the lepidites, and she's just never really used it, but she bought it because maybe it's not the right time. So don't ever think that, well, it doesn't work for you or it can't work for you, because everything is at a vibrational level. That's proven. So it's whether or not that vibration and that those healing properties are what you need at the time, and understand that. And just a little FYI about this carnelian here, if you pair it with rose quartz, it has the ability to balance out that sexual energy with love. You guys are welcome for that little tidbit of information there. Okay, so let's wrap it up. Let's say we're walking through the store and we're like, oh my gosh, here's this awesome piece of fire. I have to have that stone. We're drawn to it. We're going to follow our intuition, because why? We know that no matter what, our intuition is right. We were led to that stone for a reason, right? So pick the stone, we buy it, we take it home. What do? We're going to cleanse it. How do we, by the way, I just had to bring another one up. This is my green opal because I love him so much. How do we cleanse our stones? Different ways. Some people put their stones in water to cleanse, and I don't recommend that way, because some of the stones, especially your kyanites, your tourmalines, they're very soft and they'll dissolve in water. So for me, full moon recharging is number one. The full moon's power is amazing. And you don't have to put them outside. You know, you can set them on a windowsill as long as they get that in through smoke, burning, whether it's sage, palo santo, rosemary, mugwort. That sage is going to be able to help cleanse those stones. And then salt. You know, worst comes to worst, you get kosher salt or, oh my God, Himalayan salt. I couldn't think of the words. You know, set them in there. Let that absorb them, the negative energy, the negative vibrations, and get it cleansed. And then we have to set the intentions for our stone. I think that's probably where a lot of people maybe forget to do that. And because of that, you know, your stone needs a job, just like everything in life. It needs a job. Just because it has these abilities doesn't mean that it knows which one of those, you know, to bring out. So we have to give it a job. We have to be able to give it an intention to work with. So in order to do this, we're going to hold the crystal that we want to set the intention for. We're going to kind of take those deep cleansing breaths, clear our mind, because whatever it is that we're not thinking that we're thinking about is going to infuse into the crystal. So we're going to clear our minds. Once we know that our mind is clear, we're going to, you know, hold that clear mind, hold our crystal. We're going to vocalize our intention to the crystal. Some people, when they do this, they put it on their third eye when they're setting their intention. For me, it's more important to vocalize your intention. So for me, when I set my intentions for my crystals, I will hold it in my left hand because this is my receiving hand. And when you meditate oftentimes with your stones in the left hand. But I'll, you know, clear my mind and set my focus. And an example of an intention could be, you know, I'm ready to break through. I'm ready to break through into a happier, more fulfilling path that is to which of my higher good, or something similar to that. And you're going to speak that right to your stone so that they know, this is the intention I have for you. The intention I have for you is that you give me the ability to do this. You give me the ability to break through these barriers, break through and be happy and be on this path of enlightenment. Once you set those intentions, you need to make sure that that stone is in your aura field at all times. You know, whether you're wearing it as jewelry, whether you're sleeping with it next to your bed, whether it's sitting on your desk at the office. That's why you'll see me have more than one stone of the same stone. I know that might be confusing if you just came in, but you'll see me with more than one because I can't carry this around with me because, first of all, if you guys know me, I don't even carry a purse. So this would be really awkward in my back pocket. So it's much easier to, you know, carry something like this. So make sure that you're keeping it in your aura field because you just set that intention and you want to be able to keep that with you so that you can keep that momentum going. How often should you set your intention for your stones? You know, I think that part is up to you personally. You know, originally when you get the stone, for sure, reset your intention. Is it a good time when you recharge them to almost re-engage that intention? Absolutely, because what if your intention has shifted? You know, when you set your intentions, you don't want this hugely generic intention. You want it to be very specific. And so if that has changed in any way, when you recharge your stone, that's a perfect time to reset that intention for that stone. Good question. Good question. So that's kind of what we had for you guys today as far as kind of, you know, talking crystals. So do you have any questions for me of anything that you had hoped we would kind of discuss? Or have any questions? Brooke says, I love that. Re-engage your intention because it may have shifted. Absolutely. You know, we do so many different things throughout the days. You know, goals change, intentions change. So re-examining is a good time for sure. I'm just going through my notes really quick to make sure I didn't miss anything that we had hoped to talk about. Do you need to resage it when you reset your intention? So I think that, you know, if you're going to use the sage to cleanse, then like I said, you know, when you cleanse it, and do you want to revisit that intention? Absolutely. You know, there's different ways, like we talked about, whether it's going out into the moon, putting it in salt to recharge it. So once you're recharging it, whatever method you choose to recharge, that would be a good time if you felt the need to revisit that intention. Absolutely. The goal here is to really follow your intentions, right? Because you know whether or not you would need to reset or redo. Follow your goal. If this stone is telling you, I need a break, I need to be recharged, put some life back into me, put it outside. Don't wait for the full moon. The new moon is just as good. It offers a lot of creativity and a lot of power. Put it in a salt bath. Let it get that recharge. Oh, Margie, she says, thank you for all your expertise. Oh, thank you. Thank you for being on with me. Let's see. If you wear a necklace, does having multiple stones ever cancel each other? So that's a really good question. I don't know if cancel is maybe the right word, but you can have conflicting stones, very much so. You know, a very powerful stone would be like the Herkimer quartz, and I have one back in my workshop. But that is, or moldavite, super high vibration stone, sometimes to the point where it can give you headaches. And then, you know, you're carrying that with maybe a piece of kyanite. Totally gonna, you know, be counter indicative to each other, because one is super high vibration and the other one is kind of just meant to have a calming effect. And so I don't know if cancel would be the right word, but definitely you can have stones that would contradict each other or what they're used for. Definitely. So do you guys have any more questions for me? Like I said, I really do appreciate everyone being on with me tonight and coming through. And if you haven't been over to our page, Red Feather Healing, please do so. It's so amazing that we have come to the point where we are in our physical body, that we're able to say, you know, this is what we do. And I'm so proud of how far that I've come. And so just to have this on my page and have people come on that, you know, I never even thought in a million years would come on and listen to me speak about something I'm very passionate about. Makes me so happy. But please, I know, Agatha, I got off on the track. So please go over to our page, Red Feather Healing, if you haven't, and check that out. You know, we do have 3 services that we offer right now, whether it's connecting you with your animal guide, your animal spirit guide. We also have kind of that ability to channel with them to grab some information from them into a message that you need to receive, whether it's for healing or just a message for your highest good. So please stop over there if you haven't. Oh, Miss Marquita, hi. Oh, I missed you so much. So yeah, if there's no more questions, again, we're going to do this again because Talks with Tabatha is awesome. And yeah, so let me know if you have any more topics or anything like that. And otherwise, I will see you guys next time. Okay, thank you. Bye.